Beirut, January 22, 1979, 15 to 35 local time. The air on Verdun Street tastes of diesel fumes, salt spray from the Mediterranean, and the metallic tang of impending violence. On the 6th floor of the Snubra building, the atmosphere is pressurized, silent, and lethal. A woman stands by the window. Her passport identifies her as Erica Mary Chambers, a British national, an eccentric painter, a lover of stray cats and Lebanese sunsets. This identity is a fabrication, a hollow shell constructed of ink, paper, and lies, designed to house a ghost. Her heart rate, governed by a precise dosage of beta blockers ingested 40 minutes ago, holds steady at 60 beats per minute. It should be racing. It should be hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. But physiology has been conquered by conditioning. In her right hand, slick with a microscopic film of sweat, she grips a device no larger than a pack of cigarettes. It is a remote transmitter, a custom-built piece of hardware engineered by the technical wizards of the Mossad's Department of Technology. It does not look like a weapon. It looks like a garage door opener. But inside, the circuitry is tuned to a specific, encrypted frequency, 412 megahertz, a wavelength selected after weeks of scanning the chaotic electromagnetic spectrum of Beirut to ensure no stray taxi dispatch or police radio could accidentally trigger the payload. Below her, in the street that throbs with the chaotic pulse of the city, sits a gray Volkswagen Beetle. It is parked 42 meters away, its bumper coated in the omnipresent dust of the Levant. It looks abandoned, or at least neglected. Just another dented relic in a city of ruins. This is the deception. The Volkswagen is not a car. It is a Claymore mine on wheels. Hidden within the hollowed-out chassis, packed behind the door panels and pressed into the floorboards, is 100 kilograms of RDX, cyclotrimethylnitramine. This is not the unstable dynamite of the anarchist. This is a military-grade explosive with a detonation velocity of 8,750 meters per second. It is stable, dense, and terrifyingly efficient. The engineers have shaped the charge. They have welded heavy steel plates to the interior of the car, creating a directional blast effect. When the signal hits the receiver, the explosion will not simply expand outward in a sphere. It will be forced horizontally, a scythe of fire and steel designed to shear through armor plating, shatter safety glass, and liquefy organic matter. Erica checks her watch. The second hand sweeps past the 12. Time is distorting. The seconds are elongating. She is waiting for the Red Prince. Ali Hassan Salameh, the chief of operations for Black September, the architect of the Munich massacre. The man who has danced through the raindrops of Israeli vengeance for 7 years. He is currently 3 minutes away. He is sitting in the back of a Chevrolet station wagon, surrounded by bodyguards, secure in his belief that he is the untouchable king of Beirut. He is wrong. To understand the gravity of the finger hovering over that red button, one must peel back the layers of history to the moment the fuse was lit. Rewind the clock. Munich, West Germany. September 5th, 1972, 04:30 a.m. The darkness of the Olympic Village is breached by 8 figures carrying duffel bags filled with Kalashnikov assault rifles and hand grenades. They scale the chain-link fence. They are not soldiers. They are fedayeen, commandos of the Black September organization. By the time the sun rises, 11 Israeli athletes are bound, gagged, and terrified. By the time the sun sets, they are all dead. The botched rescue attempt at Fürstenfeldbruck Air Base is a catastrophe of biblical proportions. The images of burning helicopters and charred bodies are beamed into living rooms across Israel. It is a national trauma. It is a Holocaust in miniature, played out on live television. In Tel Aviv, the grief turns instantly to a cold, hard rage. Prime Minister Golda Meir, a woman of iron will, convenes a secret cabinet. This is not a meeting for diplomacy. It is a war council. She looks at her intelligence chiefs, Zvi Zamir of the Mossad and Aharon Yariv of military intelligence, and she gives an order that violates every norm of international law. Forget the courts. Forget The Hague. Hunt them down and kill them. Operation Wrath of God is born. A list is typed up. 11 names. The planners, the financiers, the logistical support. At the top of that list, circled in red ink, is Ali Hassan Salameh. He is the prize. He is the brain behind the slaughter. But hunting Salama is like hunting smoke. The early years of the operation are a study in the brutal efficiency of the Mossad's assassination unit, Caesarea. Under the command of Mike Harari, a spy master who treats espionage like a chess game played with live ammunition, the teams fan out across Europe. They strike in Rome, killing Wales Wider with 11 bullets in the lobby of his apartment. They strike in Paris, planting a bomb in the telephone base of Mahmoud Hamshari, waiting for him to answer a call before blowing his head off. They strike in Cyprus, slipping a pressure-triggered bomb under a mattress. The message is clear. Nowhere is safe. But Salameh remains elusive. He is paranoid, smart, and incredibly lucky. He moves through Europe using dozens of aliases. He never sleeps in the same bed 2 nights in a row. He changes his appearance. And he has a network of informers that rivals the intelligence agencies of small nations. The Mossad gets close, a sighting in Geneva, a tip in Madrid. But he always vanishes hours before the hit team arrives. The frustration in Tel Aviv mounts. The pressure to get the Red Prince begins to warp judgment. In the world of intelligence, impatience is a fatal flaw. That flaw manifests in July 1973. Lillehammer, Norway. A sleepy, snow-covered town that looks like a postcard. Intelligence comes in. Salameh has been spotted. It makes no sense for him to be there, but the source is deemed credible. A hit team is scrambled. They are tired, they are jumpy, and they are operating in an environment, small-town Scandinavia, that they do not understand. They spot a man. He looks like Salameh. He has the dark skin, the mustache, the build. He speaks French. The agents convince themselves it is him. Confirmation bias takes the wheel. On the night of July 21st, as the target walks home from the cinema with his pregnant wife, the team strikes. They pump 14 bullets into him. As the man collapses into the snow, bleeding out in front of his screaming wife, the team flees. But the escape is botched. The Norwegian police, efficient and diligent, arrest 6 agents. The truth comes out in the interrogation room, and it is a nightmare. The dead man is not Ali Hassan Salameh. He is Ahmed Bouchiki, an innocent Moroccan waiter. The Mossad has murdered an innocent man in a friendly country. The agents carry notebooks with unencrypted phone numbers. They have keys to safe houses in Paris. The entire European infrastructure of the Mossad is blown wide open. The world press savages Israel. They are painted as a gang of incompetent thugs. The operation is suspended. The wrath of God is put on ice. And in Beirut, Ali Hassan Salameh laughs. He gives interviews to Time magazine. He flaunts his survival. He marries Georgina Risk, Miss Universe 1971. He drives Ferraris through the bombed-out streets. He believes he is immortal. He believes the Israelis are finished. For 5 years, the file gathers dust. But the Mossad does not forget. It merely waits. In 1977, Menachem Begin becomes prime minister. He is a hardliner, a former revolutionary leader who believes in the power of the sword. He appoints a new Mossad director, Yitzhak Hofi. Hofi pulls the Salame file. He asks a simple question. Why is this man still breathing? The answer is complex. Salame is no longer just a terrorist. He is a political figure. He has become the unofficial liaison between the PLO and the CIA. The Americans are using him as a back channel to Yasser Arafat. He provides intelligence on radical factions, and in exchange, the CIA ensures his safety. He is a protected asset. This complicates everything. Killing him risks a diplomatic war with the United States. But Begin does not care. The blood of the Munich athletes cries out from the ground. The order is reinstated. But this time, the rules are different. No mistakes, no cowboys, no innocent waiters. This must be a surgical strike in the heart of the enemy's stronghold. They must go into Beirut. Beirut in 1978 is the most dangerous city on earth. It is a fractured landscape of warlords, militias, and shifting alliances. The PLO controls West Beirut like a state within a state. To operate there is suicide. But the Mossad prepares. They need a new kind of agent. Someone who can blend in. Someone who doesn't look like a soldier. They find her in the United Kingdom, Erica Chambers. The legend created for her is watertight. She is an eccentric, slightly annoying British artist who wants to paint the sorrow and beauty of the Lebanese Civil War. She arrives in Beirut, rents a flat on Verdun Street, and starts painting. She is loud, she is visible, she is harmless. The PLO security patrols ignore her. Why would they suspect the cat lady? But from her balcony, Erica is conducting the most sophisticated surveillance operation in the history of the agency. She marks the license plates. She times the traffic lights. She maps the patrol routes of Salame's 417 bodyguards. She notices the pattern. Salame is a creature of habit. He goes to the gym. He visits his mother. He drives down Verdun Street. And there is a spot just past the intersection where the road narrows and the traffic slows. A choke point. While Erica watches, another team infiltrates. An agent using the alias Peter Scriver enters on a Canadian passport. He is the logistics man. He goes to a car rental agency and rents a Volkswagen. It's cheap, common, invisible. He drives it to a safe house in the Christian-controlled sector of East Beirut, crossing the Green Line, the deadly no-man's land that divides the city. In a garage that smells of grease and fear, the technical team goes to work. These are not mechanics. They are artists of destruction. They dismantle the VW. They strip the interior. They begin to pack the explosives. The RDX is molded like clay into the cavities of the doors. It is packed into the space behind the rear seat. They install the shrapnel, thousands of steel cubes designed to tear through flesh and metal. Then comes the detonator. It is the most advanced trigger the Mossad has ever built. It has multiple redundancies. It is armed by a specific code sequence. This prevents electronic countermeasures from jamming it. The bomb is sealed. The car is reassembled. It looks exactly as it did before, perhaps a little lower on its suspension due to the extra weight. Scriver drives it back across the Green Line. He parks it on Verdun Street, right under Erica's balcony. He walks away, takes a taxi to the airport, and flies out. The trap is set. January 1979. The waiting is agony. The team in Tel Aviv monitors the radio traffic. Erica sits on her balcony, painting, watching, waiting. Several times, the convoy passes, but the shot is not clear. Too many civilians, a school bus, a diplomat's car. The Mossad is ruthless, but they are not indiscriminate. They need Salameh alone. The tension degrades the nerves. Every hour in Beirut increases the risk of discovery. If the PLO finds the bomb, Erica is dead. If they trace the signal, she is dead. She sleeps with a pistol under her pillow, knowing that if they come for her, she will not be taken alive. January 22nd. The day breaks clear and cold. The Mediterranean is blue. The intelligence feed crackles. Target is on the move. Salameh leaves his apartment. He's in a good mood. He's going to his cousin's birthday party. He climbs into the back of the Chevrolet station wagon. It is American steel, heavy and solid, but not fully armored against military-grade explosives. His bodyguards pile into the Land Rovers ahead and behind. The convoy screams out of the driveway, sirens blaring, pushing traffic aside. They turn onto Verdun Street. Erica is on the balcony. She sees them. The lead Land Rover passes the Volkswagen. She counts. 1, 2. The Chevrolet is in the kill zone. Salameh is looking out the window, perhaps thinking about the party, perhaps thinking about his wife. He is 3 meters from the Volkswagen. Erica's finger presses the button. The explosion is not just a sound, it is a physical event that rewrites the atmosphere. 100 kilograms of RDX detonate in a microsecond. The Volkswagen disintegrates. It is atomized. The blast wave, traveling at 26,000 feet per second, strikes the Chevrolet. The heavy station wagon is lifted off the ground like a toy. The side facing the bomb is obliterated. The door is driven through the cabin, crushing everything in its path. The shrapnel, the steel cubes, turn the air into a lethal spray. The trailing Land Rover is slammed into a wall, its occupants concussed and bleeding. Windows for blocks around shatter inward, showering residents with glass. The noise is heard all over West Beirut, a thunderclap that signals the end of an era. Smoke, black and oily, boils up into the sky. For a moment, there is silence. Then the screaming starts. Erica does not look. The training takes over. The mission is done. Now, survival begins. She drops the remote into her purse. She leaves the canvas on the easel, a final, ironic touch. She walks out of the apartment, locks the door, and descends the stairs. She steps into the street, which is now a scene from Dante's Inferno. Cars are burning, people are running, bleeding, screaming. She acts the part of the terrified civilian. She screams, "Bomb! Bomb!" and runs away from the blast site, blending into the panic. She finds a taxi. "Get me out of here," she yells. The driver, terrified, speeds away. She heads for the coast. The extraction plan is clockwork. She reaches a secluded beach north of the city. The sun is setting. A Zodiac boat, manned by commandos from Flotilla 13, the Naval Special Forces, slides out of the darkness. She wades into the water. Strong hands pull her aboard. The boat turns and speeds out to sea where a missile boat waits to take her home. She's gone. Back on Verdun Street, the PLO is in hysteria. They pull Salameh from the wreckage. He is a ruin. A piece of shrapnel has pierced his skull. His chest is crushed. But his heart, fueled by adrenaline and a lifetime of survival, still beats. They throw him into a car and race to the American University Hospital. They storm the emergency room, waving guns, demanding miracles. The doctors work frantically. They intubate, they transfuse, they shock. But the physics of the explosion were too precise. The damage is total. At 16:03, the monitors flatline. The Red Prince is dead. The news spreads like wildfire. Men fire guns into the air in grief and rage. Yasser Arafat weeps. The Americans are stunned. Their channel is gone. The Israelis remain silent. They do not claim credit. They do not issue a statement. But everyone knows. The message has been delivered. The aftermath is a tangled web of consequences. The CIA is furious, but impotent. They cannot publicly defend a terrorist. They bury their relationship with Salame, classifying the files for decades. The PLO fractures. Without Salama's steady hand and his connection to the West, the more radical elements take over. The violence in Lebanon spirals out of control, leading to the invasion of 1982. Some say the assassination was a strategic error, that it removed the one man who could have moderated the Palestinians. But for the Mossad, strategy was secondary to the debt. The debt of Munich. The debt of the 11 athletes. The technical brilliance of the operation becomes a case study. The use of the female agent, the deep cover, the shaping of the charge, the encrypted trigger. It is the gold standard of assassination. But the human cost is buried in the files. The agents who lived in fear for months, the civilians injured by the flying glass, the cycle of violence that continues to spin. Erica Chambers vanishes. Her name becomes a myth in the intelligence world. Did she retire? Did she take a new name? No one knows. She is a ghost again. The legacy of the hunt for the Red Prince is not just about the death of one man. It is about the evolution of a doctrine. It established the Mossad's reputation as an agency with a long memory and an infinite reach. It proved that there is no statute of limitations on Jewish blood. It showed that safety is an illusion. Whether you are in a penthouse in Beirut, a hotel in Paris, or a sidewalk in Rome, if you are on the list will find you. The Volkswagen on Verdun Street was more than a car bomb. It was a statement of intent, a promise kept. And in the quiet offices of the Mossad headquarters, a red line is drawn through a name, and the file is closed. But the war goes on. New names are added. New operations are planned. The machinery of vengeance never stops. It only waits, lubricated by patience and intelligence, for the next button to be pressed. The echo of that explosion in 1979 still resonates today. A reminder that in the shadow war, the only rule is that there are no rules, and the only victory is surviving to fight another day. The sun sets on Beirut, the smoke clears, but the ghosts remain, watching, waiting, forever. This operation also redefined the relationship between intelligence agencies. The rift it caused between the CIA and the Mossad was deep. It exposed the cynical reality of Cold War politics, where one man's terrorist is another man's asset. The Americans felt betrayed. The Israelis felt justified. It was a clash of priorities. For the U.S., stability and information were paramount. For Israel, survival and deterrence were non-negotiable. This tension would play out over and over again in the decades to come, but never as starkly as on that afternoon in Beirut. The silence of the U.S. government following the assassination was deafening. It was an admission that they had been caught playing a double game and they had lost. Deep in the technical archives of the Mossad, there is likely a report detailing the exact composition of the explosive mixture used that day. It wasn't just raw power. It was chemistry applied to politics. The decision to use RDX over C4 or Semtex was calculated. RDX has a higher brisance, the shattering effect. It was meant to ensure that even if the armored door held, the shockwave would be lethal. The placement of the car was also a study in geometry. The angle of the street, the height of the Beetle relative to the Chevrolet. Everything was mathematically modeled. This was the new face of warfare. Scientific, precise, and impersonal. The days of the dagger and the cloak were over. This was the era of the remote control. And what of the team? What happens to a human being after they press that button? Erica Chambers was a soldier, but she was also a person. To live in an enemy city, to befriend the locals, to buy groceries, all while planning a murder. That takes a toll that no debriefing can measure. The psychological compartmentalization required is immense. You must split your soul in two: the friendly neighbor and the cold-blooded killer. When she walked away from that explosion, she wasn't just leaving a car bomb. She was leaving a part of herself in the wreckage. The adrenaline fades, but the memory of the noise, the smell, the knowledge of what you did, that remains. It is the silent burden of the spy. In the end, the story of the Red Prince is a tragedy in the classical sense. It is a story of hubris. Salame believed he could outsmart fate. He believed his charm, his connections, and his reputation would save him. He forgot the fundamental law of the jungle he lived in. There is always a bigger predator. He taunted the Mossad, and the Mossad answered. It is a story without heroes, only survivors and casualties. It is a story of a world where justice is not dispensed in courtrooms, but in the streets, with fire and steel. And it is a story that serves as a grim warning to anyone who thinks they can spill blood and walk away clean. The account is always settled. The ledger is always balanced. And the hunter is always waiting. As night falls over the history of the 20th century, the events on Verdun Street stand out as a flashpoint. A moment when the secret war erupted into the open. It remains a masterclass in tradecraft, a cautionary tale of arrogance, and a brutal demonstration of the price of terror. The 55,000 characters of history are written not in ink, but in the scars left on the city and the souls of the men and women who fought there. The hunting of the Red Prince is over, but the long shadow of Munich stretches on, darkening the future, ensuring that the cycle of violence spins on, powered by memory, revenge, and the unyielding belief that some crimes can only be punished by the ultimate sanction. The button is pressed. The circuit closes. The world changes. And the silence returns, heavy and waiting, until the next time. To fully grasp the operational complexity, one must look at the logistics of the explosive smuggling. The RDX didn't just appear in Beirut. It was likely brought in by sea package by package over weeks. Smuggled in cans of food, in hollowed-out furniture, or transferred at sea from missile boats to fishing vessels. Each transfer was a point of failure. Each checkpoint was a potential death sentence. The fact that 100 kilograms of high explosives were moved into the most heavily policed sector of Beirut without detection is a miracle of tradecraft. It involved bribery, forgery, and nerves of steel. The Peter Scriver character wasn't just a driver. He was a mule, carrying death in his luggage. The garage where the bomb was built had to be soundproofed, ventilated to hide the chemical smell, and secured against prying eyes. The mechanics worked in shifts, sleeping next to the bomb, eating next to the bomb. They became intimate with the instrument of death they were creating. They knew every wire, every switch. When they sealed the door panels, they were sealing a tomb. Consider the psychological warfare employed against Salame before the strike. The Mossad didn't just want to kill him, they wanted him to feel unsafe. In the months leading up to the hit, there were strange phone calls to his unlisted numbers. There were rumors planted in the souks. They wanted him jumpy. They wanted him to make a mistake. But ironically, it was his comfort that killed him. He got used to the threats. He normalized the danger. He stopped varying his routine because it was inconvenient. He let his guard down because he was tired of being afraid. That fatigue is a weapon. The Mossad counts on it. They have infinite patience. The target has finite energy. Eventually, everyone gets tired. Everyone makes a mistake. And when Salame made his, keeping to a predictable schedule on a Monday afternoon, Erica Chambers was there to punish him for it. The explosion also had a forensic aftermath. The Lebanese police and the PLO investigators scoured the scene. They found pieces of the Volkswagen engine block embedded in walls 3 floors up. They found the twisted remains of the detonator receiver. But they found no fingerprints, no DNA, though the technology didn't exist then. The physical hygiene of the agents was impeccable. The apartment was wiped clean. No hair, no fibers, no notes. Just the smell of turpentine and stale air. It was a clean sight. This absence of evidence is the hallmark of the professional. It frustrates the investigation, turns it cold. It creates a myth, the ghost of Verdun Street. The lack of clues terrified the PLO leadership more than the bomb itself. It meant the enemy could be anyone, anywhere, and leave no trace. In the grand strategy of Israel, the elimination of Salame was part of a psychological deterrent dubbed cumulative deterrence. The idea is that you cannot stop every attack, but you can make the price of attacking so high that the enemy self-regulates. By hunting down every single person involved in Munich, regardless of time or cost, Israel was broadcasting a signal to future terrorists. Do not touch us. If you do, you will spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, and your life will be short. Salame was the boldest underlining of this doctrine. He was the proof that no one was too high up, too well connected, or too famous to die. The silence of the neighbors on Verdun Street is also part of the story. In a city like Beirut, you see everything, but you say nothing. The neighbors knew the English woman was strange. They probably suspected she wasn't who she said she was. In Beirut, everyone is a spy or a militia member. But survival dictates silence. If you talk to the police, the PLO kills you. If you talk to the PLO, the Mossad might kill you. So you keep your head down. You say good morning to the lady with the cats. You ignore the man parking the Volkswagen. And when the street explodes, you sweep up the glass, bandage your cuts, and thank God it wasn't your car. The civilian population is the canvas upon which these secret wars are painted, and they bear the scars of the brushstrokes. Finally, consider the button itself. A simple, momentary switch, a collection of plastic and copper. It is an inanimate object, but in that split second, it became the focal point of history. It connected the agony of the Munich families to the streets of Beirut. It bridged the gap between victim and avenger. When Erica pressed it, she wasn't just closing a circuit, she was closing a circle of violence that began 7 years earlier. The click of that switch was the period at the end of a bloody sentence. And as the dust settled and the years passed, that click echoes still, a testament to the relentless, unforgiving mechanics of the wrath of God. The operation was a masterpiece of destruction, a symphony of intelligence, logistics, and will, culminating in one singular, blinding flash of justice. The Red Prince was gone, but the game remains the same. The players change, the technology evolves, but the rules are etched in stone. Kill or be killed. Hunt or be hunted. And never, ever forget.